April 29, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. The volume wasn't too high. It was also kind of a slow, meandering day. I had some trouble with my NinjaTrader because, as you can see up here, the lag, it's after hours now, but the lag throughout the day, it kept drifting up. So it used to be like in the milliseconds, like 2 digits all the way down here, maybe 10.010. And so I kept re-syncing my clock to bring the lag back down, but it would probably take about a couple more minutes and it would slowly start drifting back up to half a second, then 3/4 of a second, then a minute. And I couldn't really rely on that. And it happened all day. So I didn't take the time to reboot my system, but it was something that made me a little more cautious today, thinking that, okay, my system isn't quite up to par. So I need to be extra careful today. So there was only one piece of economic data that came out today was the JOLTS Job Openings, which came out at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard, which is about right here. Didn't really move the markets. And overall, prices stayed within about a 70-point range. You can see like 55.97 to 55.21. It's about 70 points. But it didn't really span that whole range until, pre-market to, I would say, almost 2 hours before the end of the day. And even then, it just kind of created a lot of choppy setups. I didn't find too many, and I did take one trade, but that one trade wasn't the best trade in hindsight. I thought it was good in the moment, but after further review, it didn't look that good. So in the pre-market, there was a spike, kind of chops around. It had two-legged sell-off, hit the pre-market low, and this is probably going to be the lowest it's ever going to be all day. And it opened, and it pushes up on this green up channel. Instead of breaking and testing the highs, it moves into the sideways consolidation. There are second entries in here, but the context isn't very good because technically your new high would be here. First entry long, second entry long. It's a bad signal bar to go long on. It's going sideways. So in real time, you don't know how long it's going to go sideways yet. You just know you have a terrible signal bar. The follow through trigger bar is looking pretty doji neutral. It's just kind of spanning the entire length of this range. So it finally breaks out, tests the high, hits this some smaller trading range, kind of consolidates, and it pushes up. I drew this purple trend line first, and I tried to match it as a channel. I didn't color it in because it didn't quite confirm all that well. It did have one touch, two touch, three touch. On the top side, it has a breakout here. Fails to break out, comes down, it creates a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. So second entry long bounce off this purple up channel is is pretty good, except this the breakout here. So I'm thinking this overshoot could create a similar overshoot on the bottom side. So I'm waiting. I don't want to take the very first second entry setup in the same direction when there was an overshoot on the top side, because I'm expecting a corresponding symmetric overshoot down here. It doesn't. It just kind of keeps going. Now it finally does. But this is also when the economic data comes out, which is risky because this is 4 minutes before, and it finally comes out and it causes this kind of choppy price action. You have a new low, first entry short, second entry short, second entry short failure. This happens like, I don't know, almost 3 minutes after the news item. It feels a little early, so I do see a potential second entry short, but I also saw it as one big leg up. So I'm actually looking for a higher low, ideally a pushback, touch the EMA, rejection, and push back up. But you don't get that. So it kind of pushes up. Prices then continue moving. Oh, I did see this as a potential. I think I already reviewed it, but second entry long, because I did see the overshoot here, test the low, and potential bounce back up. But there was kind of some things that made me a little more cautious. So it's more of an almost trade. Pushes out. Another break of this purple up channel. I did try to make this fit by dragging it up to here. And it kind of fits, but then you don't have as many confirmations. So it's hard to really know which one it was. So I left it alone. So first entry long pullback, you have technically a second entry long below the EMA. It's a little confusing. It did have an overshoot here, tested the low. You could take that into account, but I'm still not taking this long trade. You get a higher low. Higher low here is also below the EMA. So you see this in real time. Confirms the follow through isn't that strong. I'm not really thinking there's a good trade here for me. The prices move down. Moves down on this somewhat shallow, weak looking red channel coming down, all within the pre-market highs and lows. So it's kind of just ranging, even though there's swings inside. Creates a new low. It's a first entry short, pushes up. By the time you have a second entry short, it looks like it's too far from this first entry, and it looks like it's all part of one leg. So if I took a short, I'd be concerned about a potential bounce here. Plus, you don't think you have a short until this one confirms. But still, there's nothing good here. Bounces around, kind of chops sideways. You could count this as a new high, first entry long pullback, technically a second entry long, but this is your signal bar to have gone long on. If it had closed green, there might have been a trade, but since it closed red, it did bounce off the EMA. You watch the second candle, which is the trigger bar. The trigger bar here, it does break above, but it doesn't have a strong follow through. If this is green, then you'd have your order ready and you'd take the trigger bar right as it breaks above and goes. At least that's what I would do. But since it closed so poorly and it creates a confirmed second entry long, I'm waiting to see how this trigger bar closes. And it unfortunately closes, it has this stem that pulled back. So I didn't really quite like it. Ideally, if this actually was a signal bar where the stem didn't exist, so it'd be first entry long pullback, this one just kind of closed at the high, then I think I might have gotten an order ready. Prices move up, kind of chop sideways, pushes up. I'm thinking when it comes down here and bounces, I drew this trend line and I drew this as a channel now. So I'm thinking, okay, is it a spike in a channel, slowly moving up, first entry long? Here creates a first entry long pullback, second entry long. So I thought, okay, there's a possible trade here. It's 2 legs down. The measure move wasn't quite made yet, but prices are. So it depends on if you trust the strength of this yellow up channel. It's going to push back into the yellow. I wasn't sure. I was thinking this is the top of the pre-market range. It tested it here, failed, made one attempt up, made a second attempt up to try to get it back up here. And this 2 legs down seems like there's a more stronger bearish bias than bullish, even though there's this potential very shallow yellow channel going up, but it's still, in my opinion, very early, premature, because you only have these 2 confirmations. So I thought this is a decent signal bar. Maybe there's a short here. Turns out it would have worked for a scalp. And if you had a runner, it actually probably would have worked and you might have gotten stopped out on this guy. Prices move down, breaks. I'm expecting a test of this low. It does. It breaks, tests the low of this orange down channel. Also technically a new high here. It's a first entry right here. Technically I have a second entry long here, but it's not a good signal bar. I'm staying out of that. Breaks above. So I first draw thinking there's a potential developing range here. You also have the new low here. It's a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short. So it's a new low. It's a first entry short pullback, second entry short. This is actually pretty, actually, I should have marked this. In real time, I'm thinking potential second entry short right here. Whoop, didn't mean to move through that. Let's put that back here. Second entry short, broke below the EMA. It looks like this is a failed breakout. Made one attempt to try to continue the breakout. I think I would have tried to enter since it's a confirmed break below the EMA, probably right at the close. Maybe not exactly 1 tick below, but I drop my order in after whatever the candle shows up next, pushes and breaks down. So I probably would have been in this trade now. And then likely this candle would have gotten me out. Prices then jump back up, breaks out the pre-market high again. So it's potential fail breakout. So it's a new low here. It's a first entry short. Also a new high, first entry long. Here it's about to create a second entry long. So I actually thought, okay, this is one trade that I did take. It's bounced off the EMA. I drew this blue trading range thinking, okay, there's a potential developing trading range inside this bigger pre-market range. It looked like it made 2 legs up, 1 attempt up, pull back. It could be a second attempt up coming up right here. It's above the EMA. It looks like it's a failed breakout, pullback, bounce off the top of this trading range. So I want to see I want to confirm second entry long because I have a suspected second entry long. First entry long, boom. I have my second entry long. I like this. So I'm thinking, okay, it's a bounce off the outside of this trading range. There is probably enough momentum to make 1 attempt and then a potential second attempt up to this, at least enough for a quick 1-point scalp. So I enter above this candle 1 tick. So I try to give myself a little bit more room. It pulls back. So my stop's actually down here. I'm thinking this trade's a losing trade. It comes back, it makes it just 1 tick higher than this. So I'm still in the trade by 2 ticks. I'm thinking, well, this isn't very convincing. Prices are losing. I draw this channel coming down. I think, okay, this is probably going to be a losing trade, so I'm just waiting. Pushes up. It doesn't take out my trade yet, and finally it hits and it confirms and takes my profit. So I'm not sure why it came up. It didn't really take me out on this candle, but it finally did on this one. So it chops around. If I hung in there for 2 points, looks like I would have been safe, and then this candle would have gotten me to 2 points. But in hindsight, I looked at this and I thought this probably wasn't the best setup. This is a possible fail breakout of the pre-market range. So prices could be coming back down to test the low of the pre-market range. But there's an overall bullish bias. So that left me a little confused, a little conflicted. The other thing I also noticed is when it started moving sideways, I think I should have considered maybe getting out break even. And this this range that I was trusting that this bounce breakout pullback was, this is actually a very premature trading range because it really doesn't have too many confirmations when you see this in real time to trust it as a range. Because yes, I do have potentially a support, but there's only 2 confirmations, potentially resistance, which has been violated 2 times here and then a 3rd time here. So to believe that I'm a breakout pullback of this blue range is a little bit of a stretch. So I definitely should have left that alone. Had to take some heat. Was lucky, I'll admit, to get this trade because it could have easily followed down this yellow down channel, especially when this green one hit. Could have just continued down, but it was also within this choppy, smaller trading range. So moral of the story is the setup wasn't clearly defined, and I probably should have left it alone. Had to sit through a little bit of heat to take this trade. Prices then move, pushes up, punches back down, hits a triple test of this support. But there's really no key. There's no real setup. There is a new high, first entry long pullback. You could argue for second entry long, but I didn't like the signal bar. Too much stem here. Follow through looks good. I'm looking for a higher low, and you don't get the higher low, and it pushes back down and out. There's a new low here. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Again, I'm just sitting, waiting. It breaks out of this green up channel, gets a little noisy. I'm trying to fit this, make it look somewhat reasonable, but everything I tried didn't quite look right. So this looks like a huge push and push out. So I treated it as kind of like a maybe smaller spike and a correction, and I was just kind of seeing what was happening here. It kind of chopped sideways. You do have a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. This is second signal bar for the second entry long. Unfortunately, I have a conflicting information coming in. I wanted a better signal bar, but it's also kind of spanning the entire length of this trading range. This could be a failed breakout, but it's rather large. It bounced touch off the EMA. As soon as it pushed up like this, I drew this trend line and I kind of matched a corresponding channel here, but it was too late by the time this move happened because I needed this move to complete to even draw this line. So I couldn't say there was a bounce off of here. Prices move up, breaks out of the pre-market high, continues up, and here you really only get, you do get some second entries like a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. This is this, I think right here was an almost trade because it's a 1 touch, 2 touch, almost a 3rd touch. I didn't like that was an inside bar to this guy, so it just left me a little worried. You could argue that it was 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, the 4th touch of this yellow up channel, but I just wasn't really sure. I'm going to mark it as an almost trade. Potential second entry long here. Bounce off this yellow up channel. Well, I'll say it's a possible trade, more aggressive than I wanted to be, especially since I was trying to deal with this big lag that just kept drifting up all day today. Prices could chop sideways, pushes the new high, first entry long pullback. Technically, your second entry long is made right here, but I'm not really liking this sideways price action. Hits the high. I draw initially, my bottom of my range was actually right here, something like here. And I treated this as a failed breakout corresponding to this failed breakout. Just kind of watching carefully, pushes to the high. You have a new low, first entry short pullback. Technically, this could be right here, confirms a second entry short. It's top of the range. It's a small failed breakout. It did have 2 legs down. It's just chopping sideways. And I really wanted a better bearish signal bar on this guy. I would have had a trade prepared, but I see it more neutral. Then it follows through. Now I'm just not trusting it. Prices move down. Here, that's where I drag this range to this range low. Looks like it fits a little bit better. Encapsulate more of the candles. Just kind of gets noisy. New low, first entry short, second entry short, bad signal bar to go short on. Pushes back out, has this weird spike up here. It just moves sideways, and again, dealing with the lag and kind of the quick trade that I was able to squeak out. I wasn't that enthusiastic to try to make anything happen. And prices just kind of chopped sideways some more. And it was just nothing I really felt confident jumping in. And to be honest, I wasn't really paying that much attention toward the end right here because I already knew it was moving toward the end of the day. And I wasn't going to try to take a trade that close to the end of the day. So I don't think it was my day. Plus, my system was a little suspect with the lag and everything just kept drifting higher and higher. So moves into the close. So kind of how I saw the charts today. Not, I wouldn't say it was difficult trading, but it didn't really offer up too many opportunities. It was just kind of meandering today. So hopefully that was helpful.